we living, boys? We are doing the Briar matchup guide revamped because, not gonna lie, some of these matchups have changed and people are like, hey, Logan, your old video, it's not rocking, so that's what we're doing. And we have the chat on the left. This is for YouTube and Twitch, so if I respond to a question, obviously you can see it and double check what it is. But we can start out with some of the easier ones, something like Hecarim. Hecarim has definitely made it into Briar's like top 5 worst matchups in the game. I will say a lot of Hecarims mess up when they don't know how to full clear and reset at good times, and then you get to Briar on them. It can be quite fine. So I will say it's very rank dependent. I don't think I'm going to separate by rank dependent because that would make this video 4 hours. I'm not gonna lie, and that's not gonna work. So let's just do worst. I don't think these are ordered, by the way, so definitely mess up, or don't mess that up. But yeah. So like the idea with Hecarim is that you're better off building Bork or Voltaic if you're a high damage player, because they mess with his move speed, and that's 90% of his kit. So Bork has a 30% move speed slow, and Voltaic can at least slow him down for that second. Those are the 2 best items in this matchup for if you're a lethality player or a bruiser. But sometimes you'll run into the point that, like, if you interact with him with just those items, sometimes he just out-damages you, and life sucks sometimes. It is what it is. You just got to pick your spots a little bit better. Generally speaking, this is one of the worst matchups for Briar if it's played really well. But again, a bad Hecarim is free food. Ain't nothing to it. Yeah, so that's the main thing. If I were you guys in the matchup, I would be... a lot of the matchup is actually the mistakes that you don't make more than the plays that you do. So one thing I would try and not do is he has ultimate. Don't look for big E. Because you go for a huge E in the matchup, if he's halfway decent, he's going to ult, be unstoppable, and he's going to time it perfectly. You're in the worst spot possible. So you have to, when you engage, you have to be doing something. When you W auto Q him, right, you W towards him, Q, you have to be in a good spot or situation immediately right then when you decide to hit W, not after or anything like that. So the idea is that picking your spots is really important. One thing that Hecarim players do a lot is they will try and... Maybe I use paint this time to kind of give you guys a visual flashbang. Right, so a lot of Hecarims in a team fight will try and... You know, if this is all your team, right, and you're stacked up, right? Let's say you have a ton of people. So does he, right? A lot of Hecarims will try and do this thing where they, like, come around, they stack up a Q here, then they stack up a Q here, and then they look to ult the backline right here. And if you can find the best spot to when he's going for a Q stack, it can be really good because you'll throw off his whole game plan. Like, if you were to engage on him here with your team, you'll likely make him panic ult into your team. And that situation can be pretty good for you, especially if you're able to, like, if he throws an ult this way and you buffer E into a wall that's here. It can be really good. Being on the fly is really smart, and picking good jungle fights can be pretty good for you. But it's all about finding the time to hit him with your team. If you try and solo kill Hecarim, he has more options than you do, so you don't want to do that. Conqueror Hecarim can fight you a little bit, but Phase Rush, if they don't take Phase Rush, you win hard. So biggest thing to do is pick your fights at a good time. Okay, so you have to work on where you're at, generally. And then try and prioritize doing him when he's next to your team, when your team can actually do something with you. Other than that, this matchup is pretty dang terrible if he plays it well. You can abuse bad Hecarims, though. When you're ahead of Hecarim, get in his jungle. He is so prone to invades, it is insane. So please get in his jungle ASAP at the moment that you're ahead. Good. Alright, next up, one of the worst matchups in the game. Luckily, K'Sante doesn't jungle, so we're living the dream. Olaf. Olaf is sneaking back into the meta right now. I don't know if you guys know this, but this patch, Olaf has snuck back into the meta. And as you can see, there's a lot of people figuring him out. So Challenger people are still building Stride. GM players are building Ravenous Hydra and doing way better. So, well, that's even top lane too. But junglers are going Sundered Sky, Stride Breaker, and as you can see here, people are figuring him out. And this matchup is pretty impossible. one of the things that you might not realize that this is one of like the fourth times that Olaf Jungle has been meta, and he was meta last in like season 10 to 11ish. And the main thing about him is Olaf doesn't scale into team fights unless he's insanely fed. So just being decently fed is actually not enough. So all you do is sacrifice literally everything unless you know you win the fight. Because basically how it worked in pro play back then is that Olaf would get the first 2 dragons uncontested, and then enemy jungler on 3rd dragon, his team would take a team fight. Because you cannot check this guy early game. Because of the way that he gets so low from jungle, camps, that he has so much free attack speed when he does anything. Camps, objectives, and it just makes for a bad time playing Briar. On top of the fact that you can almost never E him once he hits level 6 because he's going to just hit R and stat check you. Being really good with your W2. I think this matchup really abuses Briars that don't think about their W2s, the bite. Right? Because he's going to save his W for the last second. And if you can catch him with a big W2 right before that, sometimes you can flat out kill him. Okay? And then other times, it's like you want to get lower so that you can W2 heal more to have a chance. But if you W2 early, you're just making his attack speed higher and he's going to kill you faster. So be really smart with your W2s. Don't rely on your E here. And be okay with sacrificing early game because you will outscale him in fights later on. So this matchup can be very tough. There's a lot of learning that you got to do to make this one playable. Next up is Sylas jungle. I would say one of Briar's best. Or let's call it free. How about that? So what Sylas jungle likes to do is he likes to do 3 camps and then gank somewhere 100% because his clear speed is so abysmal that he can't full clear really. And if he does, it's like kind of mid because he's very low and he can't fight you for crab then. So what was the point of the full clear? Because then you can't go to Raptors. It would take too long. He's going to 3 camp invade. Feel free to oftentimes try and match him. Place your own ward at his Raptors at 1 minute. Go back to your buff. Try and meet him at mid lane if he's going to gank there. If you counter gank him one time, you're going to clear way faster than him, and you win hard. Sylas jungle only functions when he can be spam ganking and getting kills on repeat. So if you answer that a few times, even once, you win the game for free. Next up is Amumu. Briar favored. Now, this one is Briar favored if you are a smart Briar, because if you are running in constantly if you W forward for free, Amumu gets to line up his Q and then ult you, kill you with his team, and you have to buffer E before his Q or you get CC locked the whole time. Okay? So a smart Briar will sideways W, wait for Amumu to Q, sideways W it, and then start the fight. Then Amumu has to panic R. You can buffer E into that. Now you have a good situation. So overall, it's Briar favored because you can invade him. You can do Raptor invade onto him. You can always out-farm him. And once he takes a gank and it doesn't work after not farming, he's just so far behind. So this is Briar favored. Again, you can only lose to him if you start doing bad Ws or shooting bad ults. Definitely just look to buffer E into his Q, and you'll be just fine. Really not too much else to say. He can take Conqueror and kind of fight you level 3 sometimes. The biggest thing to do with CC enemy junglers is just look for prio, right? So prio is like when your team can walk first to a play. Because if he has prio, he's going to CC lock you, and you're going to be in a bad spot, and it's tough to run away. So that one's good. Jarvan is Briar favored. I played against one Jarvan ever that has played the matchup perfectly, and even then, it wasn't even that bad. It was just, basically, when Jarvan plays his matchup perfectly, it comes down to whoever has better team. But generally speaking, ball in your court, you always outfight him. The only thing he can really do to mess you up is he can kite you around, right? He can EQ away from you and try and drag you into a weird spot. He can EQ away and then force you to tap your E so that you don't run too far. And then he can ult you in and have his team hit you. Again, not many Jarvans abuse how defensive he can be. And because of that, Briar gets a lot out of this guy trying to fight you, because once he EQs you sideways W, he has auto attack left. Well, Briar has W still going, Q coming up, and E if it gets bad. So, sideways W makes this matchup free. Buffer E into his R. If you try and random E him, he can go unstoppable on his R. So, you do have to be careful about just random Eing, thinking it's much better than what it is. But if he mistimes his ultimate, you'll just put him into his own wall. Completely good. Free matchup, really. Let's talk about Mundo. I think Mundo is a free matchup. The only thing, there's one EUW Mundo that makes the champ look good. Every other Mundo, challenger or not, just donates free LP. I think Mundo is in a weird spot where he might be insanely strong if you're really, really good at him, but there's one person on Earth that's really, really good at him, so you're not playing against that guy. This matchup's free. At any point, you can just go any build. Okay? You can go Eclipse, you can go Lethality, you can go Titanic. If you really get scared of him, just buy Bork, and then he's dead again. The biggest thing to do here is sideways W his Q, and then you're basically set up. Someone just asked, what sideways W? That's, it might sound crazier than what it actually is, right? So, Briar has a W key, that's a dash, right? W1 is the Briar champ, right? She dashes. What is that? Okay, she dashes and then activates Frenzy, right? So, if enemy team has a bad guy, right here, right? And they have a skill shot, like Mundo Cleaver, instead of Wing forward towards them, eating the cleaver and trying to just Q him and do damage, right? Walk towards him. When he goes to throw that cleaver at you, sideways W, then you'll get there. So sideways W effectively means just use your W to dodge their skill shot, and that'll keep running to you. Who's the one good Mundo? Natty Nat, I believe his name is, but I'm not too sure. So yeah, that's one of the biggest things to do in this matchup. Other than that, you out-skirmish him. He needs 3 items to play the game. He can get absurdly strong at sometimes, but most of the time if he got absurdly strong, it's because your team messed up against him, in which if that was any other champ, they would be absurdly strong and doing crazy things. So, all in all, Briar versus Mundo is completely free. Yeah, free matchup. Let's talk about some other tough matchups. Gwen can be a very tough matchup, but not one of the worst. Enemy favored. So, the thing about Gwen is it's on the Briar player to dodge the true damage of her Q, right? The Q in the middle does true damage. It's on you to dodge that because once you W, right, you're running a straight line, she's going to line it up, hurt you. So it's on you to, figure out times to do that. Sometimes that is in the form of hitting her with ultimate and then Wing past her, right, as she starts the animation. That could be really good. Overall, it's just her lack of early game that allows you to go so crazy versus her. She can out-farm you really hard, and she's AP, but the reality is that you have free reign early game, and you can invade her. She gets really low on first, second, and third camp, so you can invade her at any time, and it's always a kill. So yeah, it's just, it's enemy favored because that champ is more absurd than you right now. This champ has a 65% ban rate because what it does when it hits 2 items. It's like Kale times 10. So overall, it's only enemy favored just because of how late game plays out, where she's way stronger and does so much. She has to try so much less than you to get the same thing. But if you had to just rate early game, it would be a free matchup because she'll never check you early game. So yeah, just abuse her early game, you win. If that be through early ganks onto her weak laners with your CC lanes, or just invade. Really, she gets really low on first clear. Okay, who's up next? I'm kind of just picking them at random here. Rammus is a free matchup. I have the video directly explaining how this is a free matchup, and I show everything about this matchup. But basically, if he ever Qs and bonks you, you should have already been Eing, put him into the wall, and walk away. And even if he taunts you, he's stunned for longer, you walk away. Start the fight again, do it again. He can never engage on you for free, unless you left yourself open without E, or didn't think to use it. So this matchup is completely free. Whenever he bonks or uses ult, always just shoot ult. Add him. It's completely free. QE combo mid-team fight is really good against him. He does not have insane in-team fight movement after his ultimate. So generally speaking, this is just a tank. Early game, he can be like kind of tanky in 2v2s, but generally you should be WQing. You WQ onto his teammates, stay on them. If he taunts you, buffer E, now you're not hitting him. And the matchup is just good. Sure, super late game, he'll get very tanky, and that'll suck. But you'll reach a point at like 3 items where you'll always have the ability to like WQ, Titanic W2, and then buffer E. And then just run away, wait for your cooldowns, do it again. And you'll drain tank him like it's nothing. It's all about you not being the one to mess up for these. That's basically all the free column is. Like, you have to really make huge mistakes to lose this. Okay, Teemo Jungle. Teemo Jungle, I will say, is probably Briar favored. But to be fair, I'm just going to put it even for now. Because, like, the disparity of good and bad Teemo Jungles is the fact that, like, a bad Teemo Jungle is going to try and play early game, and he's going to get smoked, and he'll never come back from it. A good Teemo Jungle player will actually scale up before showing in the map. He'll sack a lot of objectives, get to 1 item, and then he'll start checking you, and you might not realize it, but then he starts winning. Because Briar has trouble itemizing magic resist really early on, that he can kind of snake his way through early game by getting 1 item, then going to mid game. Biggest things to do against Teemo, like I always say, man, you find him in the jungle or the river, anywhere. If you can just Q him. Because the moment you're on top of him, he's going to use blind, his Q. And you can look for QE combos if he doesn't have a lot of movement speed or you have good walls to hit him on. And if you don't have QE combo for free or not confident to it, just Q him. And then auto him once, he'll blind you. And then if you are tanky enough, just W after that. And it's most likely 75% of his health. And as he runs away, just use E to reset or flash WQ and kill him. So really, the thing that heavily tips it in his favor is when he gets to shroom up team fights, he can do a lot of damage. He can start carrying the game, and he can split push a little bit better, a lot better than you, rather, because he's an AP attack speed user. So overall, you have free reign of the first 7 minutes of the game. Okay? If you don't do anything with it, it can start looking pretty bad, though. So you got to be careful. Probably even. Let's talk about Qiyana Jungle. Qiyana Jungle, I would say, is likely Briar favored, but again, it's technically even. I played against, some of the best Qiyana Jungles on NA. They're like 1600 LP. And like most of the time, the only times that they really win is when they just have like one laner that's going crazy and they just stand top lane or bot lane just killing the same guy 10 times, kind of like Evelynn. And then you mess up one time and now your tempo is completely ruined because they finally killed you, which equalized the experience. And then they're Qiyana versus Briar, which is a good matchup for them because they can go triple invis and CC ult. But generally speaking, that's when I'm playing against the literal best Qiyanas on the server. The literal best ones. A lot of your Qiyanas, being masters and under, will likely just try and abuse Briar, like messing up or losing W cooldown for invis. But if you time your Ws in a good way, and if you E a good portion of her W, you can get her to the point that she plays every team fight just to not get hit by you. And that's not killing your team, which is what her champ needs to be doing. So it's really not that bad. Biggest thing to do is, if you can, get really close to her WQ and try and catch her lacking. Titanic W2 early. You always W2 early because she's going to go invis ASAP. So then you chunk her out for like 50% and then you just walk away, go do anything else. So it's all about how creative you can get to WQ and close the gap. And when you can do that, you hard demolish the matchup. Hitting R is a free kill the whole time. You should never really lose this matchup unless they're like actually a demon Qiyana on a Smurf. Okay, what are we doing next? Let's talk about Wukong. Wukong, like, a perfect Wukong would put this in worst category, but I'm gonna say it, a lot of Wukong players kind of suck. Like, no hate, not even trying to be mean. But they just don't abuse Briar as hard as they should be on paper. And because of that, you get to live the dream more often than not. I'm pretty sure I have, like, an absurdly high win rate against Wukong. It's really just, like, again, if Wukongs would stop using their W, E, R to engage, then they would have more cooldowns to stop you, right? If they just flash ER and then W to not get engaged on. With so many Wukongs messing up, it's hard for me to like really gauge the matchup. I would say on paper this should be worse, but I'm going to put this enemy favored just because a lot of Wukongs don't realize how much they're trolling. Just know, if he ever uses W, you have 20 seconds where you can blast this guy nonstop. In that 20 seconds, you can get 2 iterations of your W to fully kill him. So you just have to be really aware of when he uses W, plan it in your head how you're going to kill him during it, and that's it. Looking for R's onto him is troll. He'll always just hit W. Sometimes it's really not even that troll, because if he W's away from you but not over a wall, you'll fly to the clone and then you just WQ chase him, because again, it's 20 seconds. You just have to catch him in bad spots. Again, like, I don't know, the biggest thing that really messes up Briar players is that the invis messes up their W. Your W was bad in the first place, so it's not his invis, it's your W is bad, but you just want to blame them, and that's wrong. So yeah, I don't know. I see a lot of Wukongs are not playing Wukong correctly, and because of that, Briar can play the game. If Wukong is played perfectly, it's a pretty tough matchup. So I'll just leave it an enemy favorite. Biggest things to do, again, like every other invis champ, try and get close enough WQ, and if he doesn't immediately W that, Titanic and W2 early, then once, the moment that he's unstunned, he's going to hit W. You just space it. Just keep walking. Just keep walking. Titanic helps with invis champs because it gives you a better burst window. Black Cleaver helps because it gives you the movement speed to catch up to those invis champs. So Titanic Black Cleaver against anyone that can go invis is usually the best thing to do. But do what you want. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really struggle with this matchup. There are times where, like, a lot of people make it a Briar issue, but like, just keep it real with yourself. Wukong is absurd sometimes. The guy will, like, drop a double ult ignite Q on your head and you just die. Guess what everyone does? It's insane. It is insane. So, yeah, stop making it a Briar issue. This guy just kills people randomly, and you have to see it coming before it happens, because you're likely not going to be doing anything when he drops a triple knockup on your head. Let's talk about Warwick. Warwick is a low elo slayer that I see a lot of people have a problem with. Like, the thing is Warwick is a good skill check for a Briar player because it is literally a matchup of whoever messes up first hard loses. And unfortunately, it looks like that's more times than not us. Just looking for a really bad E onto Warwick, he's going to Q through it. He's going to slide through with his fear while doing it. And then you lose your E, he slid through it. He's autoing you now, he feared you. Autos you to death, then he ults you. You're dead. Nothing you can do. And it's because you E'd poorly. That's it. Some of the best things in the matchup is when he's running at you with fear, sideways W out of the fear, right as it's about to expire. Okay, so now his fear didn't do anything. And if he's engaging without the damage reduction, you kill him. You're not feared. W auto Q, right? Do all your damage. And he'll try and stat check you at some point. But as long as you use E before his Q comes up next, you win. And why would he have Q'd? Well, you dodged his fear, so he's going to Q you because he needs the health, because you just dodged his damage reduction and his CC. Then you hit him, he has to Q, and then as long as you E before the next one, you're good. You also can, if you sideways W his fear, then you can always ultimate anytime. Buffering ult into his ult is possible, by the way. You know when you can tell a Warwick's going to ult you? Just ult him. Just ult right at him. If you ult right at him, it can't miss him. It'll always hit. And that'll give you a fighting chance out of his ultimate because you'll go unstoppable. You'll start hitting him back. And then you're both just standing there hitting each other, except you're Briar with way more stats. And your Q will come up to help you out a ton. So, yeah, this matchup really is just gameplay diff. I would say it might be Briar favored, but I'm going to leave it even because, again, I punish a lot of mistakes on enemy team. If played perfect, he can have a good chance. He can have a really good chance. It's all about your usage of your E. If you ever E badly, you're going to die. You're going to die. You also need to have a really keen sense on, like, when he's just looking to kill you. Sometimes beating Warwick isn't even killing him, it's just not dying to him. Because Warwick in teamfights is way worse than Briar, I'm not gonna lie. He ults one person, cool. I ult one person, that's a 5-man. So, in teamfights, you always win. Just literally prioritize not making mistakes, you win. I would say it's probably Briar favored, but I'll leave it even just to be fair. Lee Sin is one of the worst matchups for Briar. This one is one of those, like, relative skill does matter. It is easier for you to play Briar than it is Lee Sin to play Lee Sin. So your rank does matter. One of the hardest parts about this matchup is the fact that if he uses Dragon's Rage, his kick, right? If he kicks you away after you W'd, he will always break W. So if you W towards him, he kicks you away. That's always going to break W unless he stays too close. That's one of the worst parts of the matchup. You can W towards him. When he turns to kick you, you can buffer your R. He can still ward hop to dodge that, but most of the time they won't realize that's happening, but it is possible. Overall, you play it like he's an Invis champ. Go for a short burst, W auto Q auto Titanic W2, boom. He's going to kick you away, that's fine. Now he's half health, you're 75, keep him moving. If he ever tries to Q you, right, he throws the blue ball, boom. He will try and Q2 to follow it up, do his execute damage. Well, if you start channeling your E the moment that he Qs, he Q2s, boom. Right there, boom, he's in the wall. He can still ward hop it, but again, it's like matchup knowledge. Does he know that when he hits that Q, he needs to ward hop to not get his Q2? Which, the Lee Syndrome, he will play for that Q2. So, buffering E is really good into his Q2. Sideways W for his Q is also really smart. Just don't get too far baited. Like, if he misses Q, his first idea in his head is kick you away and W towards his team. Sometimes you'll run too close to his team, not realizing that just taking his ultimate is good. So you just gotta be careful, but when played perfectly, you just never have a chance. He will only Q2 when it's good for him. He'll just try and space you out with Q and E's, and then bring you to his team, kill you with his team every time. Kick will always go good. If you ever try and charge E onto him, he can always ward hop past you, kick you into his team. So it's rank dependent. The Challenger Lee Sin I play against play this matchup very well. It's still playable. You just got to play around your team. Right? When he goes for an insec or tries to kick one of your teammates in, if you counter him with a WQ while he's mid-flight, you can stun him. He won't be able to get the kick, and that is really good. So depends on how quick you can be. Diana is Briar favored. Dare I say it, free. Let's say free, actually. Diana's free. Actually, let's go Briar favored. Diana is free. Free early game. You can always out-skirmish her. Bork effectively makes her useless. The only thing she really has is big AoE team fights where you're getting comboed because you allowed yourself to be stacked on your team. She gets a big ult. You go to E, but it's already too late. If she ERs and you E, the damage hits of her R, then she gets knocked away. So if your team's in that circle, they're dead. You just took a ton of damage too. Maybe you can get away with a ward hop Q, but generally speaking, you abuse her early game. You can always invade her, and 1v1s you should win. The only thing that you can really mess up with is, again, just if you overstack on your team or you get baited too close to her team and then she just uses ult as like an effective CC. That can be really tough. Sideways W, her Q is the whole matchup. She cannot play if her Q did not hit. So you, as the Briar player, need to be so aware of what her Q does. It unlocks her kit. She cannot play if she does not have that. Her Q is essentially our E. We need it to play the game. So yeah, that is it's a pretty free matchup. Um, so I ping pong with Ekko a lot. I ping pong with Ekko because this is actually lining up perfect. I don't know how that's happening. Um, I ping pong with Ekko because you do have a better early game. Your first 7 levels are completely free. He can't do anything. But the problem is that if he gets any bit snowballed, your game is unplayable. Because the way that you try and E him away, he always has enough movement speed to run out of your... He E's you, does the auto, slams into you, runs around, dodges your E, can always just hit R. This puts it probably in the worst. I played against 2 high-ranked Echoes, and they never beat me. They kill my team. And then when they kill my team, then they can kill me. So, I don't know, man. You just have to play around your lanes better than he does. He won't fight you early until he wins. So, like some of these champs will try and fight you 1v1. Ekko will never fight you 1v1. He's going to go snake 3 kills, and then your game is unplayable. So, likely in a solo queue environment, this one's really bad. Biggest things to do is try and queue him right before he ults. If you queue him right before he ults, you can sometimes catch like a free 1,000 gold because he's snowballed. He's trying to get a last kill before he ultimates. And because of that, you're able to get so much out of the matchup just by having a point and click stun because he's running at Mach 10 million and you don't have to hit the CC ability to stop him. But overall, yeah, I don't know, man. He gets fed and then it's unplayable for you. If you get fed and you can destroy him in his jungle, that's really good, but you need all hands on deck from your team, which is pretty rare. Let's talk Master Yi real quick. I think Master Yi is even, okay? And I think that because he is made to 1v1 things, okay? A lot of Briar players also think that Briar's made to 1v1 things, and to a point she is, but it's like if you had levels to it. There's levels to this stuff, you know what I'm saying? Let's pull up the paint again, let's show you. So like here's Briar's 1v1 potential, right? And it's high up. And here's Briar's team fighting. Decent. Master Yi is the exact... is that to a different degree. So team fight, right? Team fight, okay. So his 1v1 is higher, but his team fight is worse. So we're just statted differently. Where if we try and take a 1v1, he will win it more times than not, unless you get a really big outplay. But if he goes team fight, you will win it. So it's all about what you do in the matchup and how you approach the map. If you're going to path into him, you have to have team with you to do so. You also have to have a keen sense of punishing him for his mistakes. So if he starts a fight on you with Q, blast him. Blast him. The only Master Yis that will ever do well in this matchup are the ones that just hit R, hit E, and auto me. And then the moment that I do anything, he Qs me. That's the Master Yi that'll win. But if he starts, if any Master Yi ever uses Q, and you don't put a Q or an E on his head, you're cooked. So yeah, it's like your team fight is better than his because if he Qs at all in a team fight, you should have WQ right on his head, or just flash Q is just fine. You flash Q him, your team kills him. If he meditates, you E, and he's cooked. But his side lane, his 1v1, him catching you out, you have to be very aware of his invades and the things that Master Yi players like to do. So it's even because if you play for 1v1s, he's going to smoke you. And if you play for team fights, you smoke him. So who puts themselves in a better spot? It's up to you. Graves feels like one of the worst matchups when Graves is strong. I would say Graves is not very strong right now, so I'll move it to enemy favored. The idea is that like Graves from ahead does so much damage and clears so fast and just tilts your team, and smokescreen can be annoying because it messes with your decision making. All of those things are very true, and Graves players love to abuse that, and it sucks. It really does. The biggest thing that you need to do is just play a decent early game, get snowballed, even not even snowballed, just get not behind, really. And when you can play like that, taking a 2v2, taking a 3v3 is not that bad anymore. Random jungle fights can benefit you if you know when the break point of this trade is. If you try and play every jungle fight like it's a full kill, that's where you mess up. If you take a big chunk with a W auto Q auto W2 really fast, if he E's away immediately after that, and if you hold E, right, you just heal up, he E's away, he can't hit you anymore, okay? You're down all your cooldowns, but he's half health and you're full. So if you figure it out, like just kind of the stressors of the matchup, it's really big. You have to be smart about running forward with your W, because smokescreen does not break your frenzy. It doesn't. Okay, Briar still senses the blood. But the problem is like if in that moment that you're smokescreened, if 3 people show up and you didn't know to E, life sucks, and that happens often. So generally speaking, if he gets super fed, try and just flash on him and let your team kill him. But if enemy Graves gets super fed, it's like any other one of these champs. Fed Graves is fed everyone else, and everyone else will kill you. They've nerfed his E armor so much that it really only matters from even. It really only matters from even. So, not too bad. This video is going long. I'm giving you guys too much sauce here. Darius jungle has gotten nerfed enough. I'm going to put it Briar favored. It is likely even. Say even, actually. It's even because I play against high elo Dariuses. If you ever tried to WQ a Darius when he has spells up, what does he do? He yoinks you, right? And if he hits E during your Q, you lose cooldowns, he slows you, and then he kites you around, you're dead. You cannot get out away from that. So you need to be Wing towards him, let him E, and then you Q him. That's the only way that you can fight this. If you're against a Darius that just flat out doesn't know that's how it works, you flat out win. It's not close. If you get a free WQ on him and then he E's following, bet. Oh, got a little kick. It's going to be free. Your E is a damage reduction for, damage, not true damage though. So his ultimate always does insane damage. You want to break away from the fight before you're on 5 stacks. If you try and leave at 5 stacks, he's just going to flash ult you. No big deal. He's usually running movement speed, Umu's, Swifties right now. To where you can't really run away. You have to pick your spots, but he is very squishy. So him being the primary target, if you get a WQ next to your team, he's cooked. So yeah, I don't know, man. Just don't fall for the E bait and you'll be fine. Let's talk about Ivern. Ivern is one of the most broken junglers in the game. He's objectively like top 5. And he has been broken for years. He doesn't get played well, and he's not played a lot, so he's able to get buffed even and fly under the radar. This is one of the most broken champs of the game. He is a disgusting gameplay loop of Daisy slowing you, knocking you up, and his Q just forcing you unable to hit. And his shield can mess up your game plan. Daisy is disgustingly broken, and you can't even smite her anymore, so it's just completely unfair, this matchup is. But a lot of Iverns are flat out bad. Sorry to say it, and they don't play the matchup correctly. They let you on the same screen.
I've never seen anything like this before.
If Ivern is ever within WQ range of you, he's made the biggest grave mistake ever. Walk up to him, WQ, auto. If you have Titanic, use it. W2 early, because he's going to get it. He's going to hit you with Q and run away. So W2 early for this matchup. And then just don't use E. Likely the snare will be the effective time what your frenzy would run you towards him. Don't use E. Just walk away. Just let it time out and walk away. That way you have E when you need it. Hitting ult on him is a free kill. This is one of the games where you buy Serpent's Fang no matter what build you are. 3rd item. When you buy Serpents, this champ doesn't exist. Hit him with ult, he's free. Basically, Ivern plays for his lane that will skirmish the most. So, like, he has a Nami and Seraphine bot and a Riven top. He's pathing top. Focusing the Ivern's really good. Again, he's an enchanter. Like I always say, you need to be hitting the enchanter. So, hit Ivern first. You win the game. Good. And just to be clear about builds, because a lot of people get lost in them, I'm explaining to you how to play them. Your build hasn't been decided yet through any of these matchups. You can build towards enemy team. Generally speaking, it's about knowing if I need to W2 early or not. Again, the Invis champs, Titanic benefits enough because it gets a faster burst, and these tankier ones, Bork gets better because they can't check you. You just get to run at them. Yeah, and then in a world where you're focusing Daisy, hitting Daisy is one of the best strats against Ivern 100%. But sometimes it's kind of tough because you lock yourself to WQ on Daisy. That also locks you into minions. To where, like, if Daisy dies, sure, Ivern's mad, but you might be running towards the wrong spot, so you have to be careful about it. But usually, if Daisy's ever in a bad spot, WQ and do as much damage as possible. Ivern is a cannon minion without Daisy. It's a good point, thank you. Good. Maokai is free. Build Bork, you kill him. Build Titanic Black Cleaver, you kill him. The only thing Maokai does, he controls objectives with saplings. You need to get to the objective first, don't let him set up saplings, and then just take the fight. If he ever tries to W you, you can just buffer E into a wall, or let it happen and just WQ him afterwards. It doesn't matter. He can never hurt you, kill you, do anything. Best thing he can do is ult you and W you and let his team kill, in which, how did you let his team get ahead? You have free reign early game. Evelynn, free matchup. I've only lost to 2 Evelyns ever in my life. And it's because I was fed, but they were more fed. Because let's say I camped top, I got 5 kills. They went bot, they got 6. You have free reign early game. Start invading early. I have a whole video about punishing enemy jungler by hard invading. It is an awesome video to explain how to play the Evelynn matchup. You need to get active early game, and she can't play the game. Be careful not to get baited with her fear or her charm and a teammate walking. You do need to watch your prio on this one. But generally speaking, you take the fight to her. Ward her camps is really good. You can always E when she procs the charm, and you won't walk as far towards her because you'll have to finish the E startup. And you can also, if you think she's going to R, you can ult the line behind her where she'll go, and that's 100% a kill. So get active early, play decent skirmish, you'll be fine. Jax is Briar favored till I die. Jax is one of the worst full clears in the game of meta junglers. You can likely always full clear before him, get to a bush near him, full charge E him, put him into the wall, and that's actually a full kill. No matter what rune you have, if you play the E combo into wall, it's always a full kill. With the damage that he takes from camps and how much damage you can do with full charge E into wall. So you have full early game against him. You have a strat that's 100% against every single Jax. You have a better level 3 gank. You have better 2v2. The only thing that you can do to mess up is if you walk too far forward with your W and your Q, and then he E's that. If you let Jax E your Q, you messed up. Flat out, that's it. Let him engage with Q and E, sideways W out of that E, and that's a cannon minion right in front of you. Basically, 90% of people that play badly into Jax simply just mess up, and they refuse to say it, and then they blame his kit. Bro, just walk away from the guy when he E's. And at worst, if you're like truly scared, if he's QEing towards you, if he's Eing, right, and then he's about to jump, just buffer E. Just buffer E. When he jumps to you, boom, lands, he gets pushed back, done. That's it. Matchup's not that bad. If you go to team fights and he's on like 4 items, sure, he'll outscale you late game, but it's really not even like worth saying because he outscales like almost everyone. But anyways, thank you so much for the Prime Brother Super Generous. Thank you for all the follows though. So yeah, it's just flat out skill issue. Again, it's easy to get tilted against him. He is an annoying champ, but you do have the advantage whether or not you know it. Let's do Nunu. Nunu is definitely Briar favored in the sense of champion v champion. This guy can't do anything. If he charges ultimate, you Q or E. If he snowballs, you sideways W. If he's snowballing someone else, you WQ him. If his snowball is going to hit you, you just E. Right? You can always win against him. The problem is that Nunu is a better flat out solo Q champ He's able to do things that other solo queue champs can't do with how fast he can just randomly engage a decent fight, choose to play it or not with phase rush. Again, Nunu will never 1v1 you. And if he does, destroy him. Get into his jungle ASAP. Again, he only really wins just hard spam ganking your team and you being unable to answer it. So you need to play a really strong early game and you can beat him for free. But other than that, it's not that bad. Talk about Elise. Elise jungle. Dude, this tier list is actually lining up like what is going on. Excuse me. So Elise jungle has kind of fallen out of the meta right now. Where, like, it's still good, just no one's playing it. Like, this is still a really good champ. This matchup is likely one of the worst, just because of the gameplay loop that Elise puts you in. Elise will basically just try and poke you down with spells. If you ever E without her being in spider form on top of you, she's going to just dodge it and kill you. Both of her E's in human and spider form answer your whole kit. Where, like, if you WQ forward, she cocoons you, done. And at worst, she just goes spider form, repels to a random anything else, and then, again, you can't really fight her. Some of the best things in the matchup for you are, like, if you catch her in a bad spot, where, like, again, a perfect Elise will always space you out, right, in human form, hit your spell, she'll hit her spells, walk away. As you walk forward, she'll walk back, and then she'll just do that. But if she's ever just close enough to where you can WQ, now the whole game is changed, right? She's in panic mode. She's going to try and cocoon you, go spider form to repel. Okay. You start using that against her where, like, if you can be creative with your movement to get close enough with WQ, you can then put her in the gameplay loop where she goes spider form, repels to something, you can shoot ult at what she lands on, and now you have a free kill on your hands. But you need ult, and you need a lot more than she does. Plus, she 3 camps better than you. She's AP. It's tough for Briar to get magic resist early. You likely usually don't have enough health until like second item to withstand her full damage combo. And she just plays a better jungle game than you, where she can dive turrets so much easier with repel than you can, because that's one of Briar's weakest spots. But if she's ever not playing perfectly, likely you just stat check her and hit her in her face. So if you hard punish her mistakes, you can really get far ahead, because her farming is one of her weakest spots, where if Elise falls behind and if she's forced to clear, it's a free win. So if you play your early game, your first like 2 kills on her perfectly, you win the game. She sucks at coming back. Also, if you go team fights, you're likely in a better spot, because Elise has been the age-old classic of good early game, no team fights. So, is what it is. Karthus is one of the worst matchups for Briar in totality. He doesn't interact. Okay, he full clears faster than you. He can full clear, kill 6 camps, meet you at your 6 camp with smite up, so 50-50 you. If he gets that, he's perma up. He gets level 6 before you can get it, and then you'd need to wait another minute for level 6. He's going level 7. He farms faster than you. AP, he just does it all. If you try and over-engage, he usually brings exhaust in the matchup where you can get kind of caught. You need all hands on deck for your team. Really good pings on your side to get your team to interact with him. And if your team is walking around, like with you and able to play the game, you're in a good spot. We have a question. Do you consider Briar an easy champ or a hard champ? She's top 5 hardest in the game. So yeah, Karthus, and then like you get to team fights and he's just going to hit R, you're going to E it, but you've already taken 750 damage minimally, and then it's like, hey, what do I do now? You know, that my team's all low. Do you buy Zonias? Do you buy Edge of Night? Do what you do for your build, but generally speaking, this is a bad matchup. You need to get active early game, bring the fight to him, and if he takes exhaust, use E right then, and you are living the dream. For anyone asking who are the other 4, I'm going to do the tier list now. We can talk about that later, though. Let's stay on topic. We're at 49 minutes into this video, so we got to stay on topic. Sorry about that, boys. Bel'veth is definitely enemy favored. It leans on worst a little bit, I'll say. But it's basically like, it's just in a weird spot where Bel'veth has an easier time doing what Briar wants to do, but she reaches points where like sometimes she just can't do anything because she needs to auto attack as a champion, and some team comps that you guys draft will likely stop her from doing that. Like if you have Braum, Galio, Briar, she cannot play the game. The biggest thing, the games where Bel'veth is worst is when she level 1 invades your Raptors, takes that, fights you on red buff, or just takes your top side, and now you're down tempo for the rest of the game. I will say Bel'veth is a coin flip champ. I mean that. Bel'veth benefits, or rather, Bel'veth is very tough to play against when she's ahead, so they often do a lot of coin flip plays to stay and or get ahead, and that puts you into a bad spot. But again, the Bel'veth players are really smart about how they get ahead, and that's what allows them to climb. So the reality is that Briar's, first 1 and 2, levels 1 and 2 are kind of rough. She needs all 3 spells. Bel'veth kind of functions better on just 1 and 2 spells, just a little bit better. So I don't know. It's one or two. Even the challenger Bel'veths I play against, they do the coin flip, and then I read the coin flip. Then we're just even, and then it just comes down to better team wins, in which, like, times like that, I'm like, oh, it's probably even. But again, it's ball on their court to do something coin flip, and they technically have more control of their character, so. Again, you could put this either one. I think it's fine, too. But it's tough. I'm going to do these two together because I'm going to say the exact same thing. But they are slightly different. So, Zyra and Brand do the same thing, where they full clear better than you. They're AP, they control the map, they zone control with their spells, and it's like, what is Briar supposed to do? Well, if you take the fight to them, not even saying you have to invade, because they're like Karthus in the way that they can full clear before you're finished full clearing, and they can already be done. But the idea is that if you can ever just find them outstanding randomly, you flat out kill them for free. Okay? You flat out kill them for free. So it's all about like how you dodge their CC, right? If you're going to hit ultimate and then W past them to dodge their CC, then that's really good. That's a free kill. If you always just flash their CC, you're going to put them in a bad spot. If you find these champs at any time with an E, and like they're in a bush, you E them into the wall, it's a free kill every time. When it goes to team fights, they do outscale you, but they are a mage where like sometimes, if they're in a bad spot, you just flat out free kill them, and that's it. Just flat out it. You just hard kill them. So oftentimes people aren't playing and spacing and doing everything perfect. It's on you to just find the opportunities. You need to read the map and kind of see where they're going and make an informed decision on, do I, play to just kill them, deny them from getting to the fight, or do I take the fight to them? I don't know. It's just one of those things. You'll find an opportunity with your team where, like, Zyra will take a gank, and it, like, you're both ganking bot lane, for example. She'll use all of her spells on your team. If your team lives, you punish her, and then she's behind, you take the fight to her next, rotation of camps, and you can easily snowball out of control, because you just do the bruiser stat check, I'll stand in front of you, what do you do? So yeah, it's just one of those things. Same thing with Brand. Again, Brand is going to shoot spells from Narnia. If you're able to get in, it's free. At worst, he'll drop an RQ on you. Life's going to suck a little bit. Use E during his passive and you'll be fine. Use E during her R, you'll be fine. Okay. Zed, I would say, is likely Briar favored, where basically, like, he has a really fast 246 full clear, and then he has to, like, what does he do following that? I don't know. It's just another assassin jungler, but he's not as good as Talon at it, where, like, you just stat check him at random times. If he ever doesn't have ultimate, you just walk up, hit him, he falls over. If he does the ult into triple shadow combo while he's fed, obviously you're going to die. You die if any of these champs were super fed like that. So, deal with the farm disadvantage, win the fight following, you'll be fine. Kayn, I'd say, is slightly enemy favored, but I'll say even, actually, because your early game, you get 10 to 15 free minutes against Kayn. If you ever die to base Kayn, you've made a big mistake and you deserve that death and likely that loss, in my opinion. Because base Kayn versus base Briar, good luck, have fun. You stat check him. If he tries to E through a wall, you can Q him. If you can predict after that Q, if he's trying to Q over the wall, you can actually E him back into the same wall. So try and just abuse matchup knowledge on him where you can WQ him out of walls and put him into panic mode. He will likely then R. When he comes out of R, you buffer E. You always sideways W or flash his W. His W in every form is his most important spell. So just prioritize dodging that and you'll be quite fine. But if you tank his Ws often, you will lose. That's it. Yeah, so Kindred is enemy favored. So basically this is like standard anything. She's going to try and invade and try and get advantages, and she's an AD carry, so she scales well in team fights. But you have the thing where you can WQ, you can WQ onto her. If you Titanic W2, if you can force her to ultimate, just ult her. Just ult her right in that exact moment. If she ever ults from your team getting an advantage on her, ult that. Because if you ult Kindred ult, they all die. The timing hits, boom, feared. They go walking, sometimes out of it. Even if they get the heal, they're still feared. It's a sweet, sweet matchup knowledge. You can sometimes, you can sometimes just stat check her and start winning hard. She'll reach a point in team fights where, she just starts autoing you a ton because you decided to play front to back. Be careful playing front to back. Front to back is when you hit tanks, then everyone following, right? Try and go flank ults, get something huge going on. Could be really good.
Logan is the GOAT.
Gragas is Briar favored, mostly just because his clear speed is so bad. And not a lot of players are good enough to play Gragas, I'm going to be honest. The Gragases that mess you guys up are you messing yourself up. You try and W towards a Gragas, he E's you and runs away with Phase Rush, and now it's like, what do I do? The better Briars get close to Gragas without using W, and then when he goes to E, they sideways W out of the way, and then they punch him really hard. That's really good. Be careful about just random Eing, because he will just R you into his team, and then you're crying. But generally speaking, you have a faster clear speed and a better early game that you should always be able to just get an advantage and then force it into him. Bork is really good into this, but be careful, you might be too squishy. Merc Treads are super solid against him, so. Lillia is definitely enemy favored, but again, this one comes down to skill. Not a lot of enemy Lillias are good enough to play this champ. So I'm going to put it top of even for a slight ordering here. So you flat out have a better early game than her. You have a point and click stun. She tries to do that run around, hit a Q, run around, hit a Q. If you can find the right time to just WQ her right in front of your team, bam, she just falls over, can't play the game. If she ever sleeps you into W, you can buffer E, right? So sleep goes off, you see, right at the last second, use your E towards her, and then she just gets knocked back, she loses the spell. So Briar E is the key of going to sleep. And then, generally speaking, if you buy Voltaic or Bork, she just can't run away from you. You can also buffer your ultimate, so right again, as sleep is about to go off, you can just shoot R at her. Boom! Slam in. It's really good. Kha'Zix is definitely enemy favored. I might want to say worst. But I'll say enemy favored. Just because, you do have a better early game than him. And as long as you don't fall for his gameplay tricks or his patterns, you'll be just fine. Basically, Kha'Zix likes to full clear, gank, get a kill, get serrated Dirk, take the fight to you. If you don't fall for fighting with him when he's on his recalls or his good spikes, likely he's very rough. Now, the thing about lower elos like sub-masters is that a lot of Kha'Zix will try and fight you every time that you're on their screen, and that's when it's free. The best Kha'Zix will only fight you on their power spikes, and that's when it's tough, because he Qs you once, he spaces you out, Qs you again, and now you have to E, he walks away, E's onto you, Qs you the third time, then you're dead. You can also always win level 6 with, Q, R, auto Q, R, auto Q, right? That can kill you a ton. Best thing to do are fast combo, right? W auto Q auto W2 R. and that can just, you'll put him to half health, you'll hit him with R, he'll try and run away with ult and E, and you just chase him down. It's free. So if you just play really smart jungling against this guy, it doesn't matter what champ you are, you'll win. But R is the key. Talon is definitely free to Briar favored. Let's say Briar favored. Talon players usually have like tricks up their sleeves where they they'll just run around the map and TDM and get your team to play in this weird way sometimes, and life sucks. But overall, as you're a stronger champion early game, you have the first 6 levels to do whatever you want. He can't do anything to you. That's it. Biggest thing to do, fast combo for his invis, take the fight to him. He gets really low on first clear, so nothing too crazy. If you ever see that he's queuing towards you, you just E. Morgana is definitely Briar favorite. She's a full clear jungler like Zyra and Brand, but the thing is like if you just sideways Q or sideways W her Q, it's kind of a cannon minion. Sure, she'll black shield your Q, but you did enough damage and the situation just resets. So yeah, I don't know. I never really worried too much about this. This matchup sucks when her first gank goes well, she gets lost chapter, and then she can like clear faster than you, and she puts you in the full clear gameplay loop where she's clearing faster than you, ganking, resetting. Now you're just behind tempo for the rest of the game. Play a decent early game, and you'll match her clear, and then the game's free because you're Briar, and you can step up and facilitate the map a little bit better. Let's do Nocturne. Nocturne, I say, is even. I play against some of the best Nocturnes, and they still don't realize that our game plan is to smite the spell shield, E them into a wall, or use Q in front of my team. Again, the 1v1 matchup of Briar is the fact that, again, he steps up with his fear, right? He steps up, he does the fear onto you, right? You W over a wall, break the fear, boom. Now you're running towards him. You'll Q. When you go to Q him, he's going to spell shield. You're going to smite the spell shield, W to him. Now you're just going auto for auto, except you have E. If he wants to fight you, if you have a good E angle, just do it. If you want to ult, just do it. But generally speaking, abuse the fact that you can smite the spell shield and do whatever combo that makes sense. If that is Q smite E or smite QE, so on. And if you don't have smite upgrade, again, you just need to not having smite upgrade is like any other champion, where it's like, hey, the guy with a fear and lethal tempo is walking up to me. Do I let him hit it? I would go with no. So, again, just pick your spots good. Nocturne is nothing different than anyone else here. If you play to their 1v1, they're going to smoke you. That's it. So, yeah, probably don't take the 1v1 if you're in a bad spot. But, again, one of the best things you can do is, Nocturne's kit pre-6, which is also pre-smite upgrade, just plays to kill one guy. Take the fight to a lane. Now you have a 2v2, okay? WQ his laner. He's going to try and trade damage onto you. You're going to buffer E into that. Sure, the spell shield will happen, but you're damage reducing in a 2v2. What's your teammate doing? It's going to go pretty well. So, yeah, that matchup is not too bad. The only problem about Nocturne is once it hits 2 items, if he can start ulting your team and your team sucks, it's going to happen. Try your best. Ping his ultimate. Tell them to back up. Ping as much as you can. Don't get lazy. You'll be just fine. Naafiri definitely feels Briar favored after the nerfs, and even so a little bit before, where the champion.
Logan is the goat of Briar. I've never seen anything like this before.
The champion of Naafiri plays it 2 Qs onto you and maybe R's you in a bad spot. Generally speaking, you get to play a bruiser early game, so you get better ganks. Naafiri only does damage on a gank. So you need to just be using your stun and facilitating the map as a bruiser in a good way to where you're ganking CC lanes with your CC, and then you get ahead, and then you can step up to Naafiri. But if she gets a huge farm lead on you and can start checking you in 1v1s, and you let her Q1 you, Q2 you, hop away with the dogs, put you to half, and you don't punish that, you're gonna have a rough time. So it's tough. Fiddle, I would say, is in the even category where you both just play early game either to fight each other with your team or to gank opposite sides. Once it hits team fights, he's stronger than you. But when he's stronger than you in team fights, you need to be, it's like you're any other champ. You need to be walking away from the corners that he could be on. Wait till you have vision of the spot to play. If he ever tries to use Drain, his W on you, you have 2 spells, Q or E, to beat him on. So if you W towards him and he Qs you away, life sucks. If you WQ him and he goes to fear you immediately, you can buffer E, okay? Now he Qs you and you're not walking away anymore, you E him. And E either slows him or puts him into the wall, in which you can walk up and just hit him more. The worst parts about him, again, is when you're stepping up on his team, he ults from somewhere else. You need to be aware of him, and that's it. And that's tough for lower elo players to remember, is that you have to not give him this situation, which can be tough. Let's do Nidalee. Nidalee can be one of the worst, just because, again, she's one of the hardest champs in the game, so a lot of Nidalees will mess up, but perfectly played Nidalee will hop over walls and kite you around and never really try and give you a chance. And then in team fights, try and hit a spear on your teammate and kill them, right? But the main plan for you is to do a lot of fast combos, right? W2 early before she starts kiting you around. If she ever jumps into your team to get a one-shot, right? If you can break that combo up with WQ onto her, you can stop her game plan. That's really good. Sideways W, her Q is really smart. And ulting her is a free kill. So you need to weather the storm that is Nidalee's early game is better than yours. Cool. Weather that, go to team fights, you can disgustingly win it. Let's see, we got Mord. Mordekaiser is definitely Briar favored. You have a whole better kit, early game, everything. The only way this guy wins is if you let him scale too hard, or if he gets super fed, he's going to destroy you. That's the thing about everyone. Sideways W, his EQ, and when he goes to ult you, use that time that he's standing with the thing to buffer E, put him away, and now you can run to the other side. When he goes to Q you, as he finally walks back, he goes to bonk Q you, right? You sideways W out of the way, and then you've bought the 4 seconds that it is for him to walk. You've dodged his Q, so then you're at like 5.5 seconds of his ultimate that he hasn't even been damaging you. And then you WQ him and buy time, and if he has his whole team there, oh well. And if your whole team's there, let's go. So, yeah, the biggest thing to do in his ultimate is not really fight him, just live. Pantheon's definitely even. He does struggle to farm, but in terms of his skirmish, it is on Briar to play better, and sometimes that's where a lot of people mess up, where if he ever W's you, you need to be Eing. That's it. The cooldowns are almost identical to where if he ever just, he hops in the air, you're buffering E, boom, you knock him away. Cool. Now you can either WQ his team, reset the situation. Every time he Ws, do that, he cannot play the game. If he ults, you can also put your ult where the spear lands, and you can actually hit him too. Not that big a deal. Again, biggest thing to do here, E his W. Shaco is definitely even. Basically, the idea with Shaco is that in AP Shaco, he tries to put down a bunch of traps and use his ultimate to just buy time and annoy you and chip away with some AP damage. Well, Titanic makes you, no matter what you're hitting, you'll kill the trap behind it. Not while it's invis, but if he were to drop it down, right? If he throws one down, your Titanic will kill it. That helps the matchup a ton. So I say never go Bork this matchup. Profane or Titanic are the way to deal with Shaco. He cannot farm well, so as long as you weather the early game storm that is him 3-camp ganking and killing your mid laner every game, because they will, no matter if you ping it or not. Yeah, you just need to get Titanic, kill the traps, and if you ever hit ultimate onto him, it's a free kill. Vi is a weird one. Perfect Vi play can put it to enemy favored, but not a lot of people play Vi well enough. Biggest things to do are just take the fight to her. You have a better skirmishing hit. She has better team fighting kit. To where, like, if she's ever queuing towards you, sideways W, boom, Jarvan V2, you just hit her. If you ever let her hit you with Q for free, you're likely going to get cooked. In which, if you don't think that you have the skills to W out of the way, or you just don't have W in general, just buffer E into the Q and put her into the wall. It's completely fine. If she ever Rs you randomly, E, put her into the wall. Boom. WQ onto her when she's just standing still. If you Q her Q, like when she's charging it up and she doesn't activate it, Her Q cooldown goes to like 3 seconds, so she can like get it back. But you canceled her Q and you bought some time and tempo in the fight. That's not that bad. Again, when she steps forward, hit her with your team, you win every time. Poppy is even. The TLDR is that like Poppy W is going to try and annoy you, and he's going to try, or she's trying to put you in a spot where you're going to use your W or Q, or you've already stepped up so far that Poppy gets to just hit you for free with her team or put you into the wall and so on. The biggest things to do is really just farm. Poppy can't farm, so if you hover Poppy's plays to make her not get ahead, and you outfarm her, you win for free. You're taking time bomb in the matchup. And if she ever tries to ult you, I like to ult back at her. So that way she knocks me back, I fly back in. If you flash her E, it's likely a good situation for you. And you can also E her Eing you. So like if I'm standing on, if I have a wall here and I'm here, she goes to E, I can just E her away. In which, like, yeah, I still get stunned, but she gets pushed back. She can't, like, chain it with Q, or maybe I can ward hop over the wall. So it's all about how reactive you can be in this matchup, and it's not that bad. Viego is likely enemy favorite or worst. Low elo Viegos don't abuse you that hard. High elo ones do. So, for the sake of having this matchup guide apply to everyone, I'll do this. So, like, the idea is you need to fast combo and burst him, but he will then, so you need to engage the fight, right? So he's standing in a bush, or you find him regularly. W, Q, auto W2. He's going to go invis, and that's going to drop your frenzy. Cool. You need to, after you do that, he's going to try and charge up W and auto Q you back. So you're going to start the fight. He's going to get out of the fight. Now he's going to try and come back. You only have E, and if he dodges your E, you're going to take more damage. So you have to be smart about your E's, or good with your movement to dodge his W's. If you dodge his W with movement, you're living a dream. You ever hit ultimate, you kill him for free. The problem is that Viego's resets basically means, his passive, when he takes someone's soul, basically means that if your team has the first person to die, his team wins a team fight. You need to learn to get out the moment that happens. Because if you try and check him there, he's going to win every time. So many people want to make the play onto Viego as he's like taking the soul, and that's the worst time. You need to stop him way before that. Skarner is technically enemy favored just because, at least in high elo, they won't interact with you. They'll only gank your team, and then at some point at 2 items, he'll actually just do more damage than you. And if you build Bork, he will likely just kill you with his team. So then you'd go Titanic, but then you don't really one-shot him. Mostly it's about just countering what he does. When he drives through on your team, if you WQ hit him, that's good. Put him into a wall if you buffer your E. When he tries to drive you into the wall, you can put him into the wall. If he ever ults you, you can E him towards your team or away from your team or into a wall. It's all about your usage of E for this matchup. He's just another tank. You need to get Bork ASAP. If you go Titanic by Cleaver, Bork, that's fine. Or Bork first if you think your team is tanky enough. Fine. Shyvana is likely very Briar favored, maybe free. Mostly just because Shyvana plays to full clear, get a dragon, full clear, get a dragon, full clear, get a dragon, and then hit you with Dragon Breath Ease at one point. You have the whole first 15 minutes to stop her. Just stat check her, just walk at her, just break her legs, do whatever you gotta do. Yeah, that's really it. Sideways W, her dragon form E, and you're living the dream. When she ults in, you can always, if you see her like flying towards you, right, you can buff her E, and you actually put her into the wall for that, and then just start hitting her. It's lit. So, yeah, you free roam on the early game. Taliyah jungle is likely Briar favored. Maybe even. Even if they're really good, Briar favored if they're not. Mostly just because she's one of the only AP champs that doesn't get to do a high health build. She has to go full just flat AP, which means she's really squishy. And in jungle, that means every time that you just W flash Q on top of her, you can effectively put her to a health that she can't play the game. But if you make a lot of mistakes, she's just going to punish you, and that's it. Where, like, if you engage fights and she's standing at the other end of that rock, right? That 3v3, if you start the fight, you're the first person that's going to get EW, and now you're having a rough time. If you're ever going to get W and you know it, just start channeling E. That's the most of her damage, so just use it then. If she's ever riding ultimate, try and Q her. You'll knock her off. And flashing for her is usually good. Rek'Sai is definitely worst, but not a lot of Rek'Sais are good enough. So your biggest thing in this matchup is to just actually let her take it and engage onto your team. When she unburrows onto your team, engage on her right then. That's the weakest she'll ever be. Do as much damage in that spot. If she ever tries to engage on you with her knockup, you just try and E her away and reset the situation. Her ultimate does drop your frenzy unless something else is near. So always try in W after she's level 6 next to other things. Basically, if you try and WQ onto Rek'Sai, she can always unburrow it. But if they don't unburrow it, fast W2, buffer E, so she'll go for knockups, you'll E, you'll put her into the wall. Really good. So you have to be it's really quick how you have to address this matchup. Zac is likely one of the worst. You do have free roam on the early game, but the problem is that at some point that it's like almost undeniable. He'll reach a team fighting point, and Briar can't really WQ him because if he hits R, then you're going to bonk off. He lost the cooldowns. It is what it is. Your basic plan is to just ult his team and let him go to your team, and that's it. He builds tank and AP, two things that Briar needs specific items for, which can be tough to itemize against. Overall, it's probably one of the worst matchups in the game, and Zac players can get away with a lot just because Elastic Slingshot's a really good engage tool that they don't even play the same game as you sometimes, while likely healing like 2,000 per team fight. The champion's absurd, and no one says it. Udyr, I would say, is likely even to enemy favored. I think going enemy favored is good.
Briar. I've never seen anything like this
He
before.
has AD builds, which can basically Tiger form. Just ways to do is QQ, and then the lightning beam hurts you, and you try and E that, but he still kind of does enough damage to kill you through it, which sucks. And then AP plays the AP tank and just slow you and drop double Phoenix on your team and just chip you out and be too tanky to die. Best thing in the matchup really is just, you do skirmish better in the early game. So look for big advantages there. Don't waste too much time on farming because he will out-farm you really fast. And hit him with your team every time. If you're ever WQing him when your team can't hit, you trolled. Sejuani can be one of the worst matchups. She actually does so much damage on just Heartsteel that it's likely very unplayable. Going Bork first might just get you killed because then she just CCs you and then you're dead. Buffer E into her Q is really good. E into her Glacial Prison or whatever. Her point and click snare, stun, whatever it is. Buffering E into her CC is really good, but she likely has another option for CC, so life can get kind of tough. But if you get Bork or get ahead and then build Bork, she's just another cannon minion. Ulting her is likely pretty free also. Sorry, just plug that in. Nico, I would say, is free. She does like the invis thing to you sometimes and can look for big teamfight ults, but you can engage a lot more frequently and a lot more straight up than she can. She has to do like the minion stuff where like if your team's gonna die to Nico minions, like it is what it is. It's kind of cringe. It is what it is. Excuse me. Trundle is definitely Briar favored. The Trundle matchup is, hey, did you try and fight him 1v1 when you weren't ahead? And he killed you, right? You made a bad play. That's it. You have a better flat-out kit than him. You farm better than him. You have a better team fight than him. The only thing he has is that in certain points, he's able to 1v1 anyone in the game. And if you fight him during those, you deserve the death. Biggest things to do are, you can stay. Don't go sweeper.
I've never seen anything like
go warding totem just to look to hop over walls. He struggles with people that jump over walls. If he ice pillars you, you can sometimes E him into it and he's not ready for it, but Eing him away is like one of the biggest matchup things because once you E him away and then you W over a wall, boom, he just lost ice pillar. He can't engage on you for a long time. If you ever hit ultimate, you should win the fight even throughout his ultimate. It's all about how low health you can get before you hit W2 to heal as much to make up for it. Lethal tempo in this matchup does help a ton, by the way. Rengar is even to enemy favored. The thing about Rengar is, like, most of the time, if he's ever killing you, it's because you went to a bush for safety, and it's just not. His champion is just strong there. you do have a better early game than him, and he's kind of really tough champion to pilot, where not a lot of people masters and under are able to pilot him. So I don't know. It's just, try and hit him with your team. If he ever jumps in on anyone, you WQ him, and if he ults to hop onto you, you can buffer E, actually cancel that, and be careful about his double W. If you do too much damage, he'll like heal for a portion of the damage that he took, and that's going to be really tough for you. But generally speaking, you have better team fight than him. So take the game to team fight. Don't overplay the early game. Take it to team fights, and that's where the champion's weakest. If he's on 20 kills assassin, it is what it is. You should have played a better early game, but sometimes he'll just get fed and you'll lose, and that happens sometimes. We're not on the York nerf patch yet. So currently it's enemy favored, where he can full clear just as good as you, but he just scales into team fights better than you. Try and engage a fight with W. He's going to drop the wall on you, and then Q a ghoul or him to get out of the cage is really good. Or you can look to just, if you get close enough to him, auto Q auto. He will try and drop the cage on you, W out of it. It's all about how creative you can get to get out of the cage. That's the key. Xin Zhao is likely even to enemy favored. Xin Zhao can get really crazy in the matchup, and he can destroy you if you fall for his early game tricks. But if you take it to late game team fights, you likely do more than him.
Briar. I've never seen anything like this
and a lot of times you out skirmish him as long as you buffer your E into his Q3, the knockup. If you E that, you can get his highest damage opportunity, which is you being CC'd, and his W at once, and then put him into the wall. It's free. Rumble is likely free. All he really has is like ulting your team, right? He'll ult your team sometimes if he gets a ton of money, but generally speaking, you just stat check him. You can walk at him early game at any time. You out gank him with your better CC, and like more times than not, once Rumble's behind, he has no way to come back outside of like hitting a huge ultimate when his team is also doing good. If you are killing him and his team at the same time, like in a 3v3, they're all behind. They all do nothing to Briar. Briar just out heals and kills them. Volibear, I think, is a free to even matchup. It just really depends on the type of Volibear it is. Generally speaking, I'm never really losing to Volibears right now. When he runs at you with Q, you buffer E onto that. He will then smash down. He'll hit the Q. You will E him away. Boom. He did not get the cooldown reset. Okay, so now as his Q and E hit you, you E'd his highest damage. Boom, done. Can't do anything. If you WQ onto him, the first thing he's going to do is he's going to WEQ. He's going to drop every spell. You can choose to take the fight right in that moment. Do I want more out of this, or do I just let it be? I just did WQ auto W2. I did 40% of his health for free. I can just reset the situation. Now he can't do anything. If you ever predict where he ults, you can ult that. The only real way that you lose to Volibear is if you fall for his plan. His plan is to EWU, kite you around WU, kite you around QWU, right? Like his W lets him heal past the first cast of it. So the second, third, fourth cast, they all heal. So as long as you just play around his cooldowns. He just tries to spam shields and heals, and you need to not play on his timers, and you're completely fine. There you go. There's every matchup for you. Again, Briar has a ton of free matchups, right? They're lesser picked champions, but they are completely free. Briar favored. You might not expect some of them, for sure. Even, again, some of these change really fast to where, like, if they get one kill, now the game is really tough. Like, Qiyana, Nocturne, and Lillia can be like that. Enemy favored are just some more of the absurd champs in the game. And worst are, like, when people play it perfectly, it's really tough. But even then, if they don't play it that perfect, it's still kind of good for them because of just how absurd their champs are. So hopefully in the future, we are the absurd champ. I will do the comparison now, like I did the last time, where, if you didn't know, I compared to my old tier list the first time. This is my third time making this, so we get to see the comparison of all my tier lists in one. So let's see what we got here. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? I don't know. Is this going to become a thing? Maybe it will. Okay, so in the newer one, all right, so this is the oldest, this is second, this is today. Okay, so my free matchups were mostly the same. Again, this is pre-Nefiri. Warwick, I guess, should be more Briar favorite, actually. I think I do agree with myself there. I don't think it's free anymore. It should be more Briar favorite, though. I didn't think about that. I definitely just talked about how free it is and then and I put it even. It's just up to the Briar skill. Nunu free. Talon went up 1. Shyvana Zed. Zed went up 1, sure. My hard lose keeps getting bigger, but it's likely because I'm playing against better people. I made this when I was low Grandmasters, I made this when I was high Grandmasters, and I made this when I'm Challenger. So we're like, I guess you're kind of just seeing the efforts of playing against better champions, or better players on champions. You will see, you'll get to see more of the raw matchups. Again, I'll be honest, when you're playing anything under matchup, or rather, when you're playing anything under Masters, don't think of matchups yet. You're not there yet. It's okay to have a matchup plan and use this to plan your matchup, but to ever just instinctively be like, I lost this matchup because of the matchup. Under Masters, you're lying to yourself. You need to lock in, bro. You need to. Sometimes bad matchups happen, man. But sometimes you gotta stop calling it the matchup and call it, dang, they got fed early and now I just can't play. That happens all the time. I'll try and move this stuff so you guys can see. So again, there you go. There's old happy Logan, right? There you go. So again, you'll see. Yeah, so the full clear. So I did the first two by full clear junglers where like they all do the same thing. So likely hard lose and full clear just got merged to, make it more clear. Diana stayed the same. Maokai went down 1. Mordekaiser stayed the same. And Bessa is likely the exact same. Morgana, same thing. So, there are a few changes. Trundle went down a lot just because Trundle jungle has gotten worse. Or maybe not worse. It's just the reality of it isn't that good. Even skill matchups mostly look the same. Jacko went to even. Like I said, you could put this to Briar favored with Titanic, but because not all of you are building Titanic, we can keep it even. But again, like it's really not that crazy. Someone said, oof, that worst lineup is pretty big. Well, in the grand scheme of things, is it really? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? So 12 out of 60? Was that 20% of matchups are bad for you? So that means 80% of matchups are very playable for you. Because enemy favorite isn't that scary. That means 80% of your games you're in a very playable situation. I don't think that's that crazy, actually. And again, like, this is just two categories merged, where it's like, I didn't separate full clear. Because, again, like, full clear are all the same. Like, you could, you could order it this way. Where, like, all full clear champs do the same thing. It's like, do you fall for it? Do you get caught in the gameplay loop or not? Right? In terms of, like, your actual worst ones, it really comes down to how good the Briar is. Again, Briar has such a real kit that a lot of times matchup doesn't exist. And that was the rant I was on, is that until you are, like, Masters Plus, matchups don't exist. Your gameplay does. So, yeah, you just need to, you need to focus up. You need to, make sure that you're not overzealously trying to give yourself an out to why you made a mistake, and accept that you messed up sometimes, and that's it. But to keep this under an hour and 30 minutes, I appreciate you watching. Again, this is the third time that we've done this. Things got shaken up a little bit. There's some new meta picks that have came out lately. Seems like most of it's pretty true. A lot of these matchups are likely the same, but we're doing pretty good. I appreciate you guys watching. And I think we're going to do an item tier list soon. I don't know how people feel about the yapping, so let me know how you feel about, like, just straight, hey, look, Joe, tell me about Briar. How cool is it? How cool is she? What can she do? Hopefully I covered every matchup pretty well for you. I tried to give you a tip in at least every matchup for how you should play it. Other than that, it's time for the tournament. Got 11 days. We got 11 days. You guys have a good one. Thanks so much, and I will see you tomorrow.